There we go. We're live.
Awesome. All right, great. Well, let's start by introducing ourselves and kind of talking about our topic a little bit today, which is culture. I'm Tricia Parker. I'm the co-owner and COO of My Credit Guy. Um, Also joining us is Ashley. Ashley is Sam Parker's executive assistant, and a lot of you know she helps a ton with helping our referral partners get set up and understand our system. And then we also have our manager of our coach team, Jenny Redlinger, here with us too. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey.
Hello.
Lady only live. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Right? So today we're going to talk a little bit about culture, which is, as you guys know, huge, huge, huge to My Credit Guy. Um, I guess I'll start off by just saying, like, why is company culture important to me and to us? Um, well, first of all, it's important because we're together more than we're with our family, first and foremost, right? We have to be a pleasure to be with, all of us. That's our number one rule as an employee here is you have to be a pleasure to deal with. So it's just so important that there's just that mutual respect that flows between us personally, and I won't spend a ton of time on this, but Jenny and I came from a really toxic work environment previously. We were under this umbrella for a while and basically learned a ton about what not to do, how not to treat staff, how certain things you can say can really, really affect morale and how hard people want to work for you. So, you know, when you walk through something like that, right, it really helps you see very clearly, or helped me see really clearly how I wanted to lead our team, and the amount of respect that needed to flow between us is huge. And I'll let Jenny speak to that a little bit too, but yeah, when you're in that environment, it really taught me a ton about just what not to do. So Jenny, say, I'm assuming kind of similar feelings with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just treating people as humans, and understanding and recognizing that, there's feelings involved in people and just being able to give them that minute, that moment that they need sometimes. And actually, I always say, listen to hear and don't listen to reply. That is really how I try to interact with everyone. Because a lot of times, sometimes when people are talking, it's not about really what they're saying. There's an underlying thing and identifying that and really helping them to work through that and help any way you can.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, I would just speak to, when you've been in an environment where you feel like you're not treated fairly, in our instance, men were paid more than us, straight up. It was clear, and it was made clear to us that that was how it was going to be. I was going to say crazy town, right? Like looking back on it, I was like, how did we even like stay for more than a day, right? But it is definitely one of those things where you're on a path and you start to deviate by one step, and then one step and one step, and all of a sudden you're miles away from where your own moral compass leads you. So when we started My Credit Guy, I wanted to create an environment for women, especially, first and foremost, just because I saw women being so abused at this place. I wanted to create an environment where you could just work. Like, what a crazy concept, right? Like, you could be you, you could do your thing, and you could be paid based on your performance. Pure and simple. Doesn't matter to me if you're a boy or a girl, quite honestly. I base your pay on your performance with me. So the great thing is, here we've been able to redo it and start over and do it our way. I also had an amazing mentor before I kind of had that crappy experience. And so the difference between being led and being told are so different, right? I would have done anything for that leader that I loved. I would have followed him anywhere. The guy that was rude, of course, like my whole prerogative was to figure out a way to get away. I knew that. And it wasn't right. It didn't feel right. So why is company culture important? The first thing we'll talk about is recruitment, because we want to get new employees in that have good talent. We want to create a level of culture that they want to come to. Like, first and foremost, I mean, I want people to come here and want to stay here for the rest of their life. So, it's so important to bring that culture to everybody and make sure that, they feel comfortable right off the bat, that everybody's kind to you, and you have a question, nobody bites your head off. And, some of those little things where, it's where you want to be. So recruitment is a huge part of, kind of involving the culture. Jenny, collaboration. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So collaboration is a huge thing, especially, when you have, our leads and our coaches, and they're in it every day, and they're working and they're talking to their clients. When they bring you ideas, like, you need those ideas because, what they're doing, or maybe the route they went with this client, it will work, and we can duplicate that and do it over and over and just give that client 10 times the experience just by one little switch up. So always just being willing and having that kind of open door policy to bring their ideas just lets us continually level up. And they're also engaged in continuing to help, build the product and company too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, obviously leaders have great ideas, but the people that are in the process, the ones that are doing it over and over and over, it's like, if you're not listening to what they're saying about how things could go more smoothly or their hiccups, like, whew, you're missing the boat there, right? So you have to create an environment where it's okay to bring up things where, you don't get your head bit off for an idea. And even if it's there's lots of times where I'm like, we have thought of that before, and here's why we haven't gone down that path. But with technology always advancing, the cool thing is, like, we can keep circling back to some of our ideas. Some things that we wanted 2 years ago that weren't available now are available. So, it's still great to have employees keep bringing stuff to the table, for sure. Ashley, job satisfaction, obviously culture is a big part of that too. I'll let you speak on that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the more people that are happy to come to work and be part of a team, the longer they're going to stay. I mean, if you don't want to come into your job, you don't enjoy the people that you work with or the culture that's being presented, you're not going to enjoy coming into work, and you're not going to want to stay. So the better your culture is, the more that not only will people want to stay and you'll have those long-term employees, but then they'll sing your praises, and they'll be that, like, advocate for a great company culture. So that's why it's really, really important for that, just keep the momentum going, and people will want to stay, and they'll find reasons to stay because of that, really.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Turnover is obviously a huge issue with growing, scaling companies. The more turnover you have, the more money you're losing, unfortunately. So it is important to make it fun and keep everybody's attitude in a good place. And yeah, absolutely. Like, do those little fun things here and there that makes it so we do get those dedicated, loyal employees. Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about 5 tips to fast track your company culture. If you're scaling and growing, whether you're just adding your first person or your 30th person, I think these are all important tips that anybody could follow. So I'm going to start off with my first one, and this is one that speaks to my heart. Being grateful and showing personalized gratitude to employees. This is huge to me. I started a campaign this year. I call it my employee campaign, where everybody gets really sweet anniversary gifts. The gifts escalate the longer you're here, so they get cooler. And everybody from your first anniversary on gets a gift. And then we want to make sure we take a moment as a team to pause and love on that person. Make sure they all know it's not just from Sam and I; it's from the whole team. Because really, we are, like, if one person's out, it creates a wave, it creates a ripple. So it's so important for me to continually express gratitude. Of course, the anniversary gift is just one piece of the puzzle on that. I try to do all sorts of things that make my employees feel grateful. One of the easiest things I think I can tell anybody to do right now, today, when you see something that you like, compliment them. I mean, it takes 2 seconds. Send them a quick email and say, oh my God, thank you so much. You're amazing. You're doing great. That goes so far, just, really being heartfelt though. And that's like, looking for the good. Look for the good things and then point them out and make sure that employee feels special. Spread the word. Make sure you tell their manager. Make sure you tell, as many people in the company as you can that they did that good thing so that then they hear it from a couple different places. I mean, that just really fills up somebody's bucket. So being grateful and showing personalized gratitude to employees is my first tip. Jenny and Ashley, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, for us, it's really acknowledgement on the coaches side. A cool thing that all of our teams are doing now is whenever, a individual coach and their team gets a closing, we have a little gong. And so they ring that, and then we have a big group chat, and, they'll put gong in the chat, and everybody just kind of, interacts and congratulates everyone. And it just kind of brings up that morale. It brings up a little bit of competition too, friendly, but it really engages everyone together for that common goal.
Yes, that's a great point. Yes, absolutely. And we do have our own little company wall too. We have like our own internal Facebook, you can call it, but then each team has their own individual Facebook wall. So, when inside sales brings the heat, we post. When somebody has an amazing day, we post. If something, everybody needs to know, we can post it, but it's great to make sure that your whole team knows when somebody's doing something amazing. Don't keep it a secret. Spread that like wildfire. Okay, so the next one, tip number 2, emphasize the wellness of employees. So speaking to that, mental health, physical health, yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. I think that's huger than, it's obviously just a quick little thing, but mental health is really important. When you've worked in a negative environment, especially, you can feel how that it's almost like a toxic energy that goes from person to person to person. And all of a sudden, before you know it, the whole office is in a mood. So, definitely when it comes to mental health, we have an open door policy. So anybody can come talk to a manager about anything. It can be work related or personal. It stays within those doors. And it can be a chance to talk through what's bugging them or, letting them have that outlet. I think that's a big thing. Physical health, I mean, we try to lead with example. When you're working out, make sure you're spreading that around and, trying to get other people. I'm always trying to tell people what I'm doing and, get them on board too. But yeah, the big thing is, trying to share healthy recipes and, doing the things that you can do, we bring treats in a lot though, to be honest. So it's like we're still working on that one, I guess. As I'm looking at like sprinkled donuts. But yeah, it is important. Like mental health is huge. And I think that comes a ton though from the culture side of it. What's the energy like? Is the energy positive? Well, then people are going to be positive. Is the energy super negative and toxic? Well, then that's what your employees are going to bring to your clients. So that's something definitely to be very cautious of. Okay, 3, highlight employees who demonstrate your work culture values. So Sam just brought me the belt to go. So we try to do all sorts of stuff. Bonuses is the number one thing I can control. If you do good things here, you get bonuses. Every different department has ways that they can earn bonuses. So that part's cool. We also have things that aren't monetary, like the belt. You get the most closings, you get the belt. You get the most testimonials, you get to have the belt for the month, and then you get to hand it off to the next person or keep it, depending on how your month went. For inside sales, they definitely get huge accolades. Whoever wins the month, it's a big deal. So I would say to just find ways to highlight your process. What I'm saying might not make sense for you and your team. You got to look for what the wins are and then celebrate the heck out of those. Right, guys?
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
think that belt is really cool because I mean, people like to get money. Like obviously everybody loves a bonus, but like for some people that belt is way cooler than getting a bonus. So I think that that's really cool that we added that because it really gets people excited and it's a competition. Like somebody's excited to get that belt and add their flair to it. So it's been really cool to see it pass around.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it really has. It's been fun. Um, yes, and yes, definitely like highlighting employees that are doing the right things. Whether you pull them to the side and say like you're great, like I love your energy, like keep it up, you're great. Making sure that like Ashley said originally, the more people that kind of have your back when new hires come in, that's been an interesting thing as we've grown too. Because like I have some staff that it's like they're like so protective of Sam and I that they're like, oh no, you're not gonna play. Like this is a good place to have a job at, Like sometimes I'm like, okay, back it down a little bit, like, but it really is. It's great to have like you have your own little army that's willing to, yeah, be like, no, I'm gonna make sure that this is great and stays great too. Okay, so tip 4: provide employees with meaning. Help them understand why their mission and the company mission is so important. I mean, we talk about this on pretty much every single meeting, right? What's our goal? To get people in the houses. Plain and simple, right? Um, it's such a big deal to put people in houses. It's life changing. It's the American dream. So for us here at My Credit Guy, it's easy. I think it's easy because it's so tangible. That's such a physical thing that we get to provide for people. But one thing we never want to take for granted is how important we are in that process and how cool it is when they hit the goal. This week we got a picture of somebody in their new house. Oh, we're all crying. Like, I love that. Like, that makes me so happy. We've had some of our staff get amazing testimonials, uh, saying specifically, your passion for helping me is incredible. Like, oh, tears, like happy tears. Like, that's like what we're all working for. I think it's to me, it's yeah, figuring out what's your win. And for a lot of loan officers that are in the group, it's the same. It's getting people in the houses. So it's celebrating the heck out of that. Your processor that does all the hard stuff behind the scenes, make sure that they know how important they were to that product. And when it closes, make sure they're part of that too. Like, it's amazing. Like, look at how excited they are. Like, the more you can share that, I think, with everybody, the better that is. Our 5th tip is create goals to work towards. Besides just a paycheck, helping people be proud of their actual accomplishments. So I'll speak to that a little bit. I mean, goals is the easiest way to really help somebody work towards where they're going. So we try to create short-term goals. We try to create long-term goals. All of my inside staff has specific sales goals they're working towards. I'm a big believer in writing goals down, and creating some pie in the sky goals is not a bad idea. I even worked with my coach a ton 5 years ago. I recently found my goals I had written out for my 5-year plan, and it's crazy how many of them have happened. And I wrote some shit that I was like, woo, that makes me nervous to even say out loud. But here we are, right? So if you can't dream it, it can't happen. So, it's okay to write down like very specific goals, but then think about even bigger than that. What's even bigger than that? So do you guys want to speak to that at all? Kind of ways we help people be proud of their accomplishments here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can.
mean,
Oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead, Jenny. You're fine.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, when people want a direction and they usually know like, hey, this is where I want to be and this is what I want to work towards. And it's just really for me working one-on-one with them and touching base and saying, hey, you're doing great here. Next step, I want you to focus on this and really, become an expert and be the best at this, and just kind of giving them stepping stones, and to build up so that when, it might not even be a position we have. There's some people that position we didn't have that, but they worked towards those things, and then we now have that position and they're in it. So that's really cool to just, I always say leaders create leaders, and I love being able to do that and just kind of helping anyone, whether they want to be in leadership or they just want to be the very best credit coach and, get as many people as they can in home loans. Like, it doesn't matter. Just helping them to achieve that is super cool.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and when you're growing, what better way to like, I mean, obviously the owners of the company, the management, they're going to help grow, but if you give your employees the ability to make those goals, they're going to help you grow. And like Jenny said, they're going to create positions that were never even there to begin with. So like if you're all working together towards your obviously one big goal, but also your individual goals, everyone's going to grow, and it's just going to make your company even better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I think that's everything that we wanted to talk about. We'll just circle back to culture being so incredibly important. From day one with my credit guy, part of our business plan was to create amazing culture. So I do think it is something that can't be taken lightly, and there has to be action plans put in place from the very beginning. And the other one, I guess, thing I'm going to just say real quick is make sure you don't let a fox into your hen house. If you get a bad hire, fire quick, get them out. Give them a chance to do what you need them to do. Make sure you're clear with it, but then get them out, because there's nothing that hurts morale worse than having somebody that's like a taker when everybody else is running and they're like limping by. So that's hard as like a kind person to let somebody go isn't easy, but it is something that's really important to culture. You can't let people stay that don't fit in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for talking with us today. You guys are amazing and such strong leaders. I'm so glad to have your guys' thoughts on this. And yeah, we'll keep doing these Friday lives, and hopefully people get some good info out of it.
Thank you. Thanks, Tricia. Thanks, Jenny.